Okay, so here's a little update on that second battery I tested, and it went out to 434 milliamp hours. So all in all, I guess these batteries are about as good as an average alkaline battery as far as power is concerned. For what I paid for the four of them, I think it was around about $25. It looks like they're about twice the price of an average alkaline battery. So if they last more than two charges, they're well worth the money. Welcome back to the lab, folks. So today what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and put one of these batteries that we got out of the Lenovo battery pack the other day and try to put it to use inside this. Now this is a music stand light. It's a very nice light. I got this quite a few years ago, and it produces a wonderful light on the music stand. It just kind of folds out like that, and you set the angle and it clips onto the back of the music stand with these clips here. But it does a great job. Now, the problem with it is that it came with a built-in lithium-ion battery, similar to this, not quite as big. And the battery just went dead, and it didn't take that long. So I was kind of disappointed in it. It failed to do its job. I even put the switch in here. And this switch here was designed to disconnect the battery from it, because it's got one of these soft switches on the back here. So it's always draining a little bit of current. And I guess the people who designed it, didn't use a very low current microcontroller for it. So that would drain the batteries. And I think that's what eventually killed the batteries, that it would constantly drain completely flat. And, if it was a month or two between concerts, I didn't need it, and it sat there being flat all that time. So I put this switch in as a last-ditch effort, but I guess by the time I put that switch in, the batteries, the damage had been done to the battery, and it gasped its last and died. So this hasn't had a battery in it for the longest time. And what I've been doing is I've just been running it off the USB port here, and or this 5-volt DC input. Either way, you can get voltage into it, and it will work. But that kind of ruins the whole convenience of having a cordless lamp, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to put one of these into it, whichever one kind of fits. These two here are the same. So we can take one out of the picture for now. And this one here I'll probably put up on the little load up there to see what kind of power it has in it. And I'll put one of these in here. So let's get this open and see what it's like inside. Now, if I recall correctly, this chamber here has got a lot of height to it, and I think that's where the battery was in it. And it's got this little groove, this groove here, that goes down inside it. You see that there. So this battery here is wider than that, but by the same token, it's flatter. So I'm hoping that it will fit in underneath that. And I know there's a circuit board in there, roughly around about where the switches and all this are. So I've got to try and fit it in between. But let's get it open. We'll have a look and see. Now these little screws don't really do anything. And I believe one of them is this one here. Yeah, this one doesn't, it's not biting into anything at all. And see if I can get into it. Got my trusty spudger here. Got a lot of clips on it, and that's the main way that this thing holds together. Those screws, like I say, don't really do anything. It all just clips together like that. All right, so here we are. Let's not lose the power switch. Here's the little switch I put in. There's the circuit board, and here's the battery. So we're going to have have it sitting like this. The battery's going to have to clear the switch. Yeah, let's put that down where it goes, that little hole I drilled. So it's got to clear that. And clear this board as well. Is this the right one to use? Now, if I put it right over the edge, does it clear the board? Yeah, for the most part. How much does the board stick up? Just a tiny bit. The switch extended through there a little bit more, maybe. Give me a little bit more space. And what I can do is I can also attach the wires on here so they come straight up. So that they're not coming out and running up against the battery. but I think that will actually do it. Let's see if I can get something to stick that battery down, and then all I have to do is wire it up. All right, I just took the switch off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the switch down this end, and that way I can keep this as far down this end as possible, and that'll totally avoid this circuit board. Now I want to put it together, and I'm going to just stick this out. So what I found is the double-sided tape. This is called carpet tape. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but it's very thin tape that is sticky on both sides, and they use it for sticking down carpets around the edges. But we are going to use it for holding batteries down, so I just think we need a little bit of it. So I'm going to apply a little bit of this tape to the problem. Usually the trouble with this tape is finding a corner where you can get the paper peeled off it. Exciting, eh? There we go. So now okay, now see if I can get this snapped back together again. Yes I can. So that will fit in there. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to drill that hole again. I'll drill it down this end. Okay, so I've got the new hole for the switch. See if we can temporarily mount it up there before I solder it in. It's being uncooperative. Okay, here we go. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, you just got to wire this up to here. I'm going to go over to my soldering bench. I'm going to solder in another piece of wire onto this, solder that one onto there, solder this onto there, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to measure the current that this thing draws when it's turned on, and give us an idea, because these are supposed to be 2000 milliamp hours or 2 amp hours. So it'll give us an idea of the runtime. Ideally, like if I'm doing a full big band dance, we might have 4 45-minute sets, and you turn it off in between. Just say 4 hours. You're going to need at least 4 hours runtime. Okay, here we go. Put this on here. This on here. And if you turn it on, now see there, that's the reason that I put the switch in. So just sitting there without the lamp on, it's drawing almost a milliamp. It's going to drain that battery down, especially if you've used it for playing a gig. You've already gotten 4 hours use out of the thing, and it's sitting in your music case, draining away even further. All right, so let's turn it on here. I guess we'll have to get this little switch in place. Okay, so at the highest brightness it looks like it's drawing about 470 milliamps, 500 milliamps. That would just give you 4 hours, wouldn't it? If this battery was up to snuff, it'd just give you 4 hours. What about the next brightness level down, which is where I normally use it? So that's about 250 milliamps. So that'll give you about 8 hours of use. So that's perfectly fine. And then the lowest setting down to under 120, so that'd be like 16 hours of use or thereabouts. That's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to put it on the load and see what kind of milliamp hours I get out of it, and then I'll know what I can expect for this. And this has got the built-in charger, it's got the built-in protection, everything else. There's a complete battery management system on this little board as well. So everything should be good to go. I'm just going to finish wiring this up, and we'll come back and do the final assembly. All right, I've done that final wiring there, and we're ready to try and get this thing assembled. Just make sure that switch is down in its location. You put the knob for the power switch in there. Now we got to get the front clips kind of in first. Get them lined up. And make sure that that red wire there, the black wire seems to be sitting down okay. The red wire seems to want to sit up a little bit. Get squashed on the battery there. Lined up at the front. Yep. Okay, let's snap it together. Perfect. Just put some screws in it here. These ones are slightly bigger screws than what it came with because they weren't doing much good of anything. So I'm going to put these ones in, and maybe they'll hold things together a little bit better. Although it seems the snaps are pretty good, but it's the right size nut driver for it. All right, perfect. All right. Wonderful. There, we got it all back together and working. It's now a portable rechargeable light again, thanks to batteries we reclaimed from a broken laptop battery pack. All right, let me just, while I've got you here, I'm just going to hook up this battery to the little load, and we'll see how long it goes. I'm going to draw 200 milliamps off this, because that's basically what this thing. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it 250 milliamps, because that's what this thing draws on the medium settings, which is what I use it in mostly. So let me set up the load for that, and we're going to turn it on right now. Okay, well, I'll mention this in the next video we do to see how well it does, so tune in for that. But I think we had quite a bit of success today, got this up and running again, I can use it. I do have another one, it's not like this, but it's not as nice. This one provides a much nicer light, so I'm glad I got this back together again. All right, thanks a lot for joining me today, folks. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.